I still don't know what those people were doing in that house, but I'm certain of one thing. If we had stayed one more night, we wouldn't have made it out. Spring break 2019. It was supposed to be simple, just a quiet trip. Me, my cousin Jake, and his friends Tyler and Evan. No parties, no crowds, just a few days away from everything. Jake found the place. It was an old farmhouse listed online. The photos made it look decent, a little worn down, sure, but clean, private, and way cheaper than anything else in the area. That should have been the first red flag, but like always, we ignored it. We got there just before sunset. The last stretch of the drive felt off. The paved road turned into gravel, then into something barely drivable. Trees got thicker, blocking out the sky, and our signal completely dropped about 10 minutes before we arrived. By the time we reached the house, there was nothing else around. No neighbors, no lights, no signs of life. Just that one house sitting in the middle of nowhere. There were cars already there, too many, at least 7 or 8 parked around the property. We just sat in the car for a second. Jake frowned. This was supposed to be private. Tyler shrugged. Maybe the owners got people over. But none of us really believed that. Before we could even get out properly, the front door opened. A guy stepped out, mid-30s, clean, calm, slight smile, too calm. He walked toward us like he'd been expecting us. "You here for the booking?" Jake nodded. The guy introduced himself as Mark, said he was managing the property. That wasn't mentioned anywhere in the listing. The house wasn't empty. There were people inside, around 10, maybe more, all around our age, talking, drinking, hanging out, normal. But not because no one looked surprised to see us. It felt like we were just expected. Mark kept it casual. There was a mix-up with bookings, but don't worry, plenty of space. That didn't sit right with me. We booked a private place, not a shared one. Jake hesitated, then sighed. "We're already here, mistake number 1. We settled into one of the upstairs rooms. The house layout was weird, too many hallways. Some rooms didn't connect properly. It almost felt like parts of the house had been added on over time without a clear plan. That night, we joined everyone downstairs. That's when things started feeling off. I started talking to people. Just basic stuff. Where are you from? Who did you come with? And I realized something strange. Nobody knew anyone outside their own group, just like us. Everyone came in pairs or small groups. But there was no central group, no host party, no organizer. Then it got worse. At least 3 different people told me the exact same thing. Same wording, same tone. "We found this place online. It was cheap. Figured why not." It didn't sound natural. It sounded rehearsed. Around 11 p.m., Mark made an announcement. He asked everyone to hand over their car keys, said the roads were dangerous at night and it was a safety precaution. People actually agreed, one by one. They handed them over, even Jake. That was mistake number 2. I couldn't sleep. Something about the house felt off. Not loud, not chaotic, just wrong. Then I heard it. A sound from the hallway, a door closing, then a lock clicking, then another and another. Different parts of the house. Stepped outside the room. The hallway lights were dim, and that's when I saw him. Mark, standing at the far end, completely still, looking straight at me. He didn't speak, didn't react, just watched. I went back into the room and locked the door. Didn't sleep after that. Everything felt normal again. Too normal. People laughing, cooking, talking, like nothing happened. But something changed. 2 people were gone, a couple I had talked to the night before. I asked Mark about them. He smiled. They left early, but I had been awake. No cars left, no doors opened, nothing. That's when I knew something was wrong. Later that day, I went outside just to clear my head. Behind the house, there was a small structure, like a storage shed, locked. New lock. Recently replaced. The ground near it was disturbed, like something had been dragged. Not long ago. That's when the feeling hit me for real. We shouldn't be there. I went back inside, pulled Jake aside. "We're leaving today." He pushed back at first. Said, "I was overthinking." So I told him everything. The couple, the locks, the shed. His face changed. I didn't want to waste any time, because the longer we stayed, the worse it felt. So I looked at Jake, Tyler, and Evan and told them straight, "We're leaving. Now." And for the first time, no one argued, because they had seen it too. Not everything, but enough. We went downstairs together and the house felt different, quieter, not empty because people were still there, but quiet in a way that didn't feel natural, like everyone was deliberately keeping their voices low. And that's when I noticed people were watching us, not directly, but enough that you could feel it, like every movement we made was being tracked. Mark was standing near the kitchen in the same exact position as before, calm, still, like he hadn't moved in hours. And Jake stepped forward and said, "Hey, we're heading out. Can we get our keys?" Mark smiled, but this time it didn't feel friendly at all, and he said, "Already?" Jake nodded and gave him a simple excuse, but Mark didn't respond right away. He just stared at us for a second longer than normal before saying, "I'll grab them," and walking off. We stood there waiting, no one talking, no one moving, and then it hit me. The entire room had gone completely silent. So I looked around and realized people weren't pretending anymore. They were staring directly at us now, every single one of them, not curious, not confused, just watching. And that's when that same feeling from the night before came back, stronger this time, like we weren't supposed to leave. When Mark came back, he didn't hesitate. He just said, "Follow me," and started walking, not even checking if we were behind him. And we followed him through parts of the house I didn't even remember seeing before, hallways that felt too long, too twisted with too many turns and no sound except our footsteps. And even though no one else followed us, it felt like someone was right behind us the entire time. He stopped at a door near the back, unlocked it, and stepped inside. And when we followed, we saw a small room with hooks lining the walls. Dozens of car keys hanging from them. Way more than the number of people in the house, which didn't make any sense. And without asking anything, Mark reached up and grabbed our keys immediately, like he already knew which ones were ours, then handed them to Jake and looked at all of us before saying in a completely flat voice, "You're making a mistake." We didn't respond, didn't argue, didn't ask questions. We just turned and walked straight out. And as we passed through the living room, everyone was still there, still watching. No one speaking, no one moving. And it felt like we were walking through something we weren't never supposed to see. The second we stepped outside, it felt like I could finally breathe again. And we rushed to the car, locked the doors immediately, and Jake started the engine. And as we pulled away, I looked back and saw at least 10 people standing on the porch in a line, completely still, not talking, just watching us leave. For the first 5 minutes of the drive, no one said anything, until Tyler finally broke the silence and asked, "What the hell was that place?" But none of us had an answer, because none of us understood what we had just experienced. About 15 minutes into the drive, Jake suddenly slowed down and said, "Wait, this isn't the way we came." Which didn't make sense because we hadn't taken any turns. But the road looked different now, wider, smoother. And then suddenly the trees opened up and we saw lights ahead, and right in front of us was a coastline, a beach, which made absolutely no sense because we had driven through dense forest to get there and there shouldn't have been a beach anywhere nearby. But there it was, dark water stretching out under the moonlight, waves barely visible. And along the sand were cars, a lot of them, and some of them looked familiar. And Jake slowed down again and said, "Those look familiar." And he was right, because they were the same cars we had seen parked at the house. Then we saw them. People standing near the shoreline, at least 20 of them, not moving, just standing there facing the ocean, completely still and silent. And when Jake angled the headlights slightly toward them, one of them moved, slowly turning their head toward us, then another, and another, until all of them were facing the car. And even though we couldn't see their faces clearly, something was very wrong, because they weren't reacting like normal people. There was no confusion, no surprise, just this unnatural stillness as they stared back at us. Then one of them stepped forward and shouted something, but we couldn't hear the exact words, only the tone, and it was the same as Mark's. Flat, controlled, emotionless, like it wasn't a warning, but a command. Jake didn't wait for anything else. He slammed the gas and the car shot forward, speeding past the beach road, and none of us looked back or said a single word. And about 10 minutes later, we hit a main road. Phone signals came back. Streetlights appeared. Other cars passed by, and everything suddenly felt normal again. Too normal. We never really talked about it after that, not seriously. But a few days later, I checked the listing for the house, and it was completely gone. No history, no reviews, nothing. Like it had never existed at all, and even now, I still think about it sometimes more than I probably should, but the part that sticks with me the most isn't the house or Mark or even those people on the beach. It's the fact that when we drove away, we didn't take a single turn, and somehow still ended up somewhere completely different. The last time I ever trusted a random travel plan, I almost didn't come back from it. It was spring break 2021. I wasn't even supposed to go on that trip. I had plans to stay home, catch up on work, maybe relax for once. But my roommate, Connor, kept pushing it. He said a girl he knew, Emily, was organizing a beach house trip down the Florida coast. Nothing wild, just a group of people renting a place together for a few days. At first I said no. Then he showed me the pictures. The place looked insane. Huge modern beach house, floor-to-ceiling windows, private access to the water. It looked like something you'd see in a high-end Airbnb listing. And the price? Way too cheap for what it was. That should have been the first red flag. But like always, we ignored it. We drove down there with 2 other people, Connor's friend Matt and Matt's girlfriend Chloe. It was about a 6-hour drive, nothing crazy. Everything felt normal. Music, jokes, random stops. It didn't feel like anything was off, even when we got close. The GPS took us off the main highway onto a quieter road that ran along the coastline. Not unusual for beach properties, but the further we went, the fewer cars we saw, fewer houses too. Eventually, it was just us, the road, and the ocean off to the side. We pulled up around 5:30 p.m. The house was exactly like the photos. Maybe even better. Big, clean, modern. A wraparound deck facing the ocean, glass everywhere. It didn't look abandoned or creepy. If anything, it looked too perfect. There were already cars parked outside, at least 10. Connor looked at me. "This many people coming?" I shrugged. "Guess so." We grabbed our bags and headed up. The front door was unlocked. That was the second red flag. Inside, there were already people there, probably 15, maybe more. Some in the living room, some in the kitchen, a few out on the deck. Everyone looked around our age. Music was playing softly. Not a full party, just a gathering. Normal enough, but something felt off immediately. Not because of anything obvious, just the vibe. People looked at us when we walked in, but not in a curious way. Not like, who are these new people? It was more like they were checking us, like they already knew we were coming. Emily came down the stairs a minute later. She greeted Connor, like they were friends, introduced herself to the rest of us, and gave us a quick rundown of the house. She was friendly, but something about her felt rehearsed, like she had said the same exact lines multiple times before. She showed us our room upstairs. It was clean, nothing strange. 2 beds, a balcony facing the water, no complaints. We dropped our stuff and went back down. For the first couple hours, things felt fine. We met people, grabbed drinks, hung out. On the deck, the ocean looked amazing at sunset. It almost made me forget that weird feeling I had when we first walked in. Almost. Because once I started actually talking to people, things didn't add up. I asked one guy how he knew Emily. He said he didn't. He just saw the listing online. Same thing with another group, and another. No one actually knew each other. Everyone had the same story. They found the place online. It was cheap. It looked good. They booked it. That was it. There was no main group, no real connections. Just random clusters of people who all somehow ended up in the same house. That didn't sit right with me, but I didn't say anything. Not yet. Around 10 p.m., Emily made an announcement. She asked everyone to leave their phones in a basket near the kitchen. She said it was to disconnect and enjoy the experience. People actually went along with it. Not everyone, but enough. Connor laughed it off. No chance I'm doing that. Same. That was the one thing we didn't go along with. Looking back, that might be the only reason we got out. The night went on, drinks, conversations, music, but that feeling never went away. If anything, it got stronger. Around midnight, I stepped outside onto the deck. I just needed some air. The ocean was dark, almost completely black. You could hear the waves but barely see them. That's when I noticed something. Down near the shoreline, there were people. At first I thought it was just others from the house. But something felt wrong. They weren't moving. There were at least 8 or 9 of them, standing in a line, facing the water, not talking, not reacting, just standing there. I stared for a while, waiting for someone to move. No one did. Then one of them slowly turned their head. Not their body, just their head, toward me. I stepped back immediately, went inside, told myself I was overthinking, but I knew I wasn't. I went upstairs and told Connor what I saw. He didn't laugh this time. He just said, "Let's leave in the morning." I agreed. That should have been the plan. But we didn't make it that far. Around 2 a.m. I woke up, not sure why. No noise, no movement. Just awake. Something felt wrong. I checked my phone. No signal. That didn't make sense. We had signal. Earlier, I sat up. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I got out of bed and walked to the door. Opened it slowly. The hallway lights were on, dim and empty. I walked a little further. That's when I heard it, from downstairs. Voices. Low. Not talking, normally, more like repeating something. I moved closer to the staircase, looked down, and froze. There were people in the living room, almost all of them, standing, not sitting, not moving around, just standing, facing the same direction, toward the back door. And they were saying something, the same thing, over and over, quietly. I couldn't make out the words, but the rhythm was identical, like a loop. My chest tightened. I stepped back slowly, trying not to make noise. That's when one of them stopped. Just one. The rest kept going. But one person turned their head and looked directly at me. I didn't wait. I went straight back to the room and shut the door, locked it, woke Connor up, told him everything. No hesitation this time. We're leaving, now. We woke Matt and Chloe. They were confused, half asleep, but they saw our faces and didn't argue. We grabbed our stuff as fast as we could. Didn't even pack properly, just essentials, phones, wallets, keys. We opened the door, and the hallway was full. People, standing, facing us, silent. No expressions, just there, blocking the way. Chloe whispered, "What the hell?" No one answered. No one moved. Then, someone stepped forward. Emily. She looked exactly the same. Same calm expression, same controlled voice. "You should stay," she said. Not aggressive, not emotional, just flat. Connor shook his head. "We're leaving." She didn't respond immediately, just stared at us, then said, "Not yet." That's when everything clicked. We weren't guests. We were part of something. Something we didn't understand. And we needed to get out, now. Connor grabbed my arm. Through the balcony. We didn't wait. We rushed back into the room, threw the balcony door open and climbed out. It wasn't a huge drop, maybe 10 feet. We jumped, hit the sand hard, didn't stop, ran straight toward the car, behind us. No one followed. That was the weirdest part. No shouting, no running, nothing. We got in, doors locked. Connor started the engine, and we drove, fast, didn't look back, didn't speak, didn't slow down. About 5 minutes later, we hit the main road. Signal came back. Everything felt normal again, too normal. We didn't go back, didn't call anyone, didn't report it. We just left. The next day I checked the listing. Gone. Completely. No trace. Like it never existed. I tried searching the house using maps. Nothing. No address. No record. Just empty coastline. We never talked about it much after that. Not seriously. But sometimes, I still think about that night, about those people, about what would have happened if we stayed. And the part that really stays with me is what I saw just before we drove away. For a split second, I looked in the rearview mirror, and I swear, I saw people standing on the deck, watching us leave, not moving, not reacting, just waiting, like they knew we weren't supposed to get away.